Yeah, so both of these techniques are known and widely accepted, and they use econometric tools that are accepted by the courts as pretty good evidence that something may or may not have harmed the relevant labor market. For bias audits, I would say the local law in New York, for example, that I mentioned earlier, it requires bias audit results to be published. And what that leads to is that adverse parties can look at that published result and raise questions and prompt potential investigations. And what we've seen is employers or companies that are being asked these questions and are being threatened some investigations. What's worked for them is doing their own internal bias audits that kind of account for more information beyond what's being published. Because I think I described earlier, what's required to be published are simple, pretty much averages is how I would think of it. It doesn't really account for the nuances of the actual process. It's been effective for companies to kind of do a more detailed analysis on their end, either proactively, I think I would say that's probably the better way, or reactively. If they do get these questions, then they can go in, dive deeper, do a pretty comprehensive bias audit and be able to demonstrate that, look, these impact ratios, they can be informative, but they don't tell you the bigger picture.
I mean, my sense from you is that the way you're describing this is that really a business that's implementing the tool would not necessarily be well served just by using it as a turnkey kind of solution. That what you're saying is that on top of that, there's a degree of verification that a company would probably need to do to totally manage the risk of using the product.
Absolutely. And those proactive audits are really important, I would say, because I could think of kind of three reasons, right? Like, what is the regulation asking you to do? Are you being asked to publish? What types of metrics are you being asked to publish? And so you would need an audit that fits that. But then also, let's say, you're using a tool and having a big hiring push or wanting to do market adjustments for a big population of your workforce. You want to monitor it closely when you're doing that because just of the range, the heavy impact that might have on your workforce if you're doing kind of a big push like that.